2026 is shaping up to be a turning point for gaming. The line between reality and digital worlds is about to vanish, and what we're about to witness goes far beyond anything we've seen before. Massive open worlds, ultra-realistic lighting, breathtaking character detail, and next-gen physics that make every step, every explosion, and every reflection feel alive. The next Tomb Raider is being forged in the power of Unreal Engine 5, and everything about it feels like a reinvention of Lara Croft's legacy. This time, the story is set to unite every timeline, the classic adventures, the gritty reboot, and everything that came in between, weaving it all into one grand saga of discovery and destiny. The world itself will be more open than ever before. Massive environments connected seamlessly, from ancient ruins swallowed by jungles to icy peaks that crumble underfoot. With realistic weather, global illumination, and physics so detailed, you can feel the tension in every climb, every jump, every collapsing ledge. This Tomb Raider aims to blur the line between game and cinematic experience. Lara herself is evolving, no longer a survivor clinging to life, but a master explorer leading others into the unknown with wisdom and courage. Set during the turmoil of the late Tang Dynasty, Blood Message tells a haunting story of a father and son, two messengers burdened with a letter that could alter the fate of a nation. Their path cuts through war-torn lands, collapsing empires, and the endless shadow of rebellion. It's a story not just of survival, but of duty, love, and the price of loyalty. The world they traverse is as brutal as it is beautiful. Ancient deserts shimmering in dusk light, ruined temples swallowed by sandstorms, and quiet villages hiding both refuge and betrayal. The gameplay blends stealth, raw combat, and cinematic storytelling, placing you directly in the emotional and physical weight of their journey. Blood Message isn't just an action-adventure, and it's a human story wrapped in myth and history, filled with atmosphere, sorrow, and fragile hope.
如果神不肯拯救我们的部族，那就让我来。
阿娘，等着我。
Woochi the Wayfarer invites players into a mysterious world where Korean folklore meets high fantasy. You step into the role of John Woochi, a Taoist sorcerer and trickster of legend, navigating a world drenched in the mysticism of the Joseon era. This isn't a tale of simple heroism. It's one of balance, morality, and the eternal struggle between chaos and harmony. The tone is dark, atmospheric, and mature, filled with mythical beasts, cursed spirits, and ancient gods. Combat flows between graceful martial arts and explosive spells, with Woochi bending the elements and weaving illusions to outsmart foes. The game's design draws deep from Korean culture and mythology, but its emotions, loss, courage, and redemption, reach far beyond borders. Woochi the Wayfarer feels like a living legend, a haunting journey through folklore and fate. The Horizon Festival is heading to Japan, and Forza Horizon 6 promises to be the most breathtaking celebration of cars and culture yet. Powered by next-gen visuals, the game captures the contrast between Tokyo's neon-lit streets and the quiet serenity of Mount Fuji's slopes. Imagine drifting beneath glowing cherry blossoms, racing through mountain passes at dawn, and roaring down Tokyo's expressways surrounded by the pulse of the city. The map is said to be denser and more vertical than ever, with a perfect blend of urban sprawl and natural beauty. Every landmark, every detail feels like a love letter to Japan's racing spirit. Launching in 2026 for Xbox and PC, and later on PlayStation 5, Forza Horizon 6 isn't just about cars. It's about style, culture, and the thrill of freedom on the open road. Assassin's Creed Hexe is shaping up to be the darkest, most unsettling chapter in the entire franchise. Set during the witch trials of Europe, the game trades the vast open-world format for something more intimate, a handcrafted atmospheric experience built around paranoia, suspicion, and fear. The story reportedly follows Elsa, a woman seeking vengeance after her mother's execution under false accusations of witchcraft. The tone is grim and supernatural, blending historical realism with eerie, otherworldly elements. Shadows twist, whispers follow you, and every alley feels like it's watching. Announced with a moody cinematic at Gamescom 2025, Black Myth Zhong steps out of the shadow of Wukong as a fresh single-player action RPG rooted in Chinese myth. Details are intentionally sparse. The studio itself admits the project is little more than a skeleton in development, but the direction is clear. You take on the mantle of Zhong, the legendary ghost catcher, and the fantasy practically writes itself. Demon hunts in moonlit streets, exorcisms in crumbling temples, duels against nightmare generals, and a bestiary pulled from centuries of folklore. Expect an emphasis on supernatural combat and ritual, a world where talismans, chants, and steel matter in equal measure, and a tone closer to operatic myth than straightforward power fantasy. Set 15 years before Requiem, Resonance rewinds the clock to follow Sophia, a young plunderer with a past that refuses to stay buried, and reframes this universe through a sharper edge of combat, myth, and light. Stealth remains vital, but the design leans harder into confrontation and problem-solving, puzzles that hinge on illumination and shadow, tense escapes, and sudden clashes where the environment becomes your ally. The macula evolves from a lurking curse into a system of mechanics that bends glow and gloom, turning torches, mirrors, and dazzling sun shafts into weapons. The Mediterranean and Minoan flavor saturates the art direction. Salt-streaked ruins, labyrinthine courtyards, terracotta halls where legends bleed into reality. Sega's Revival arrives stripped to the bone and bristling with intent. Built on the Dragon engine by Ryuga Gotoku Studio, the new Virtua Fighter project puts pristine one-on-one martial arts back under the spotlight. The early EVO 2025 showing, no UI, no backing track, just footwork and fists on a grid stage, said everything about priorities, frame-tight timing, clean hit feedback, animation discipline, and the purity of reading your opponent. It's a statement that this series will return to fundamentals without losing modern ambition, promising both single-player and competitive multiplayer built around mastery rather than spectacle. There's no release date yet. 2026 talk remains speculative, but the cadence of reveals hints at a measured climb toward bigger stages. Quantic Dream's vision of the High Republic era reaches beyond familiar starfields into the Outer Rim's uncharted sectors, blending branching narrative, multiple protagonists, and a heavier dose of action than the studio's past work. It's a Star Wars of first encounters and delicate diplomacy, of covert ops and neon bazaars, jungles that hum with ancient tech, and fleets that cross paths under the glare of twin suns. Choices carry social weight, alliances forged or broken, species cultures respected or trampled, futures diverted by a single conversation or a single mistake. Development is ongoing and timelines remain a moving target. Optimism whispers one thing, caution another. But the pitch is irresistible. A sweeping, decision-driven adventure where the moral complexity of the High Republic is not just lore dressing, it's the engine that drives every mission, every relationship, every world you touch. Lionheart Studios' Project S steps into the fray as a cross-platform looter-shooter with Unreal Engine muscle and a sci-fi post-apocalyptic edge. Think third-person action where your build matters, your squad composition matters, and the battlefield pays you back for bold decisions. RPG systems woven through shooter fundamentals, loot loops that push you into tougher zones, and co-op and PvP layers that keep tensions high. The tone skews stylish and moody. Comparisons to the stark loneliness of Death Stranding's vistas aren't misplaced. While the gameplay DNA nods toward tactical cover fights and ability-driven synergies in the vein of modern Extraction and Division-style shooters. Crucially, this is a new IP, not an ODIN offshoot, which frees the team to define fresh factions, tech, and endgame without inherited baggage.
Because inside the shell, despair unfolded as we killed each other to survive.
Marvel 1943. Rise of Hydra transports us to the chaos of World War II, turning the streets of occupied Paris into a war zone of ideologies, secrets, and masked heroes. This is not a flashy superhero romp, it's a grounded cinematic story where two powerful legacies collide: Captain America and Azuri, the Black Panther of the 1940s. Alongside them are Gabriel Jones of the Howling Commandos and Nanali, a Wakandan spy, each driven by duty but bound by different loyalties. The game paints Paris as both a prison and a battlefield, a place of shadows and defiance beneath the watchful eyes of Hydra. But this war won't stay confined to Europe. Whispers of Wakanda suggest a broader, globe-spanning story filled with mystery, cultural depth, and moral tension. Captain America and Azuri may fight on the same side, but they don't see the world the same way, and that friction, that clash of values could define the entire narrative.
From anyone!
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
It's better if I tackle this one alone.
American boy is right on your heels.
Who the hell are you?
If you wanted us dead, we'd be dead. So what do you want?
Project Spectrum is one of the most fascinating experiments to emerge from Gamescom 2025, a haunting mix of tactical FPS, psychological horror, and PvE-VP tension. The premise is chilling. Reality has fractured into corrupted regions called Ember Zones, where the laws of nature twist, memories dissolve, and monsters, both human and otherwise, stalk the ruins. You play as an operator commanding elite agents who dive into these zones on high-risk missions to recover intel, eliminate threats, and survive encounters with both otherworldly horrors and rival human squads. But Spectrum isn't just about bullets and blood, it's about sanity. Exposure to the Ember warps perception, and as your team's sanity erodes, the line between ally and enemy blurs. Hallucinations, paranoia, and despair become weapons in themselves. Fatekeeper throws you into a brutal first-person world where sword and sorcery intertwine in visceral combat. Developed by Paraglacial and published by THQ Nordic, this game channels the spirit of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, fast, physical, and richly interactive. You're armed with both steel and spells, encouraged to use the environment to your advantage, kick enemies into traps, blast them off cliffs, or crush them under collapsing debris. The world is handcrafted. Every corridor, ruin, and stronghold designed with purpose and layered with secrets, puzzles, and lore. The combat is sharp and tactile, the magic volatile and personal, and the progression feels intimate rather than sprawling. This isn't about roaming a continent, it's about mastering every space you enter, learning its traps, its rhythm, and its story.
Utan Katoanshi. Utan Fatekeeper.
Owlcat Games takes us back to the cold void of the Expanse with Osiris Reborn, a third-person sci-fi RPG drenched in tension, politics, and the thrill of discovery. You step into the boots of a Pinkwater security mercenary whose routine break on Eros Station spirals into a galaxy-wide conspiracy. From the first firefight to the last negotiation, every moment reflects the gritty realism of the series. Combat unfolds in tactical, real-time skirmishes, blending squad coordination, cover mechanics, and special abilities. You'll form alliances, make enemies, and face choices that ripple across factions: Earthers, Martians, Belters, depending on your origins and loyalty. Ship command elements hint at managing both a crew and your vessel, creating a hybrid of narrative exploration and tactical leadership.
Forget serious then. Might look a bit grim sometimes. And OPA Extreme said, I'm tired of drinking with Luciana. She remembers too much and me. My suggestion? Eros.
Insomniac Games is unleashing one of Marvel's most brutal icons in a game that embraces everything raw, feral, and tragic about Wolverine. Set across striking locales like Madripoor, Canada, and Tokyo, the story follows Logan's search for fragments of his forgotten past, the lies, the blood, and the faces that made him who he is. The tone is darker and more mature than anything Insomniac has done before. This isn't a sanitized superhero adventure, it's a visceral experience where every claw strike has weight and every wound tells a story. Combat is fast, savage, and unapologetically violent, with enemies torn apart in close quarters battles that highlight Wolverine's animal nature. Yet beneath the rage, there's introspection, a sense of loneliness and loss that defines him.
Cause I ain't no hero. I'm Wolverine, just not for me.
Chronicles Medieval aims to capture the raw, unpredictable spirit of the Middle Ages like never before. Not as a fantasy, but as a living, breathing world where every choice shapes your rise or ruin. Built in Unreal Engine 5 and powered by the studio's own Asgard technology, this ambitious sandbox RPG lets players carve their own path. Start as a farmer, a knight, or a merchant, then climb through the brutal hierarchy of feudal life. The world isn't static. It evolves through politics, trade, diplomacy, and war. You can forge alliances, lay siege to castles, or build one of your own, watching your realm expand with every victory and crumble with every mistake. Every detail is handcrafted, from weather-worn armor and muddy roads to the golden glow of torchlight flickering across medieval stone.
I sought no war, but war found me. Go write your own.
The long-awaited Grand Theft Auto 6 finally brings us back to Vice City, and this time, the world feels more alive, more dangerous, and more dynamic than ever before. Built on a heavily upgraded Rage engine, the game unfolds across the sprawling state of Leonida, a sun-soaked yet corrupt playground inspired by modern-day Florida. Swamps, highways, beaches, and neon skylines connect seamlessly, making exploration feel limitless. At the heart of the chaos are Lucia Caminos and Jason Duval, two criminals bound by love, desperation, and the allure of danger. Their story echoes the energy of Bonnie and Clyde, passionate, reckless, and tragic, set against a world pulsing with crime and opportunity. Every corner of Vice City oozes atmosphere, packed clubs, flickering streetlights, and quiet alleys where betrayal waits.
The only thing that matters is who you know and what you got.
Gonna do this? Hey.
Hey.
Hideo Kojima returns with OD, a project that refuses to fit inside any genre box. It's a horror experience, a psychological experiment, and possibly something entirely new, blending film and game into one seamless nightmare. Developed in partnership with Xbox Game Studios, OD explores the limits of fear, not as a gimmick, but as a physical and emotional reaction. The reveal trailer already set the tone. Sophia Lillis trapped in a claustrophobic space, flickering lights, whispers in the dark, and something unseen getting closer. Kojima's obsession with blurring reality and fiction takes center stage again, and with Jordan Peele joining as a creative collaborator, the results could be terrifying in ways games have never achieved before. The Witcher 4 marks the beginning of a brand new trilogy, and for the first time, Ciri takes center stage as the lead. Built on Unreal Engine 5, CD Projekt Red is leaving their old tech behind to embrace cinematic realism and fluid, open-world exploration. The first tech demo showed Ciri riding through the snow-covered forests of Kovir, her silver hair catching the sunrise as she approached a harbor city alive with detail. This is a new era for The Witcher. More dynamic lighting, deeper weather systems, and a world that feels less like a map and more like a living organism. The story is expected to delve into Ciri's growth as both Witcher and woman, exploring the burdens of prophecy and the power that still hunts her. Physint is Hideo Kojima's most secretive and ambitious project yet, a concept that aims to merge cinema and gaming into one seamless experience. Often described as an interactive movie you can play, Physint is said to combine the tension of espionage thrillers with Kojima's obsession for narrative detail and emotional storytelling. Reports hint that it's being developed in collaboration with Sony, possibly as one of the first flagship titles for the next generation of PlayStation hardware. Nothing concrete has been shown, but the vision sounds audacious. Photorealistic performance capture, real actors integrated into gameplay, and a story about identity, surveillance, and the cost of truth. Kojima has teased that Physint will be both a game and a film, with production methods that could change how both industries intersect. Last Sentinel throws you into a breathtaking vision of a futuristic Tokyo rebuilt from the ashes of catastrophe. The city stands tall again, shimmering towers, neon alleys, holographic signs glowing through the rain. But beneath the beauty lies a system on the verge of collapse. You play as Hiromi Shota, an elite operative of the DMNS, a special division tasked with keeping order in a world that no longer knows what peace means. The game's world pulses with cyberpunk energy. Crowded streets filled with drones, rebel factions plotting in the dark, and corporations waging invisible wars for control. Built with Unreal Engine 5 by Lightspeed LA, under the leadership of industry veterans from projects like GTA and Red Dead, Last Sentinel promises an open world where every detail feels handcrafted and alive. Its tone is noir, its storytelling cinematic, and its choices moral and personal. This is a game about loyalty, freedom, and what happens when the line between justice and obedience finally breaks.
Follow me.
Bloober Team is returning to the fog-shrouded town that started it all, Silent Hill, to reimagine the original psychological horror classic from the ground up. Developed in Unreal Engine 5, this remake isn't just a graphical overhaul, it's a complete rebirth of dread. The town of Silent Hill will be more oppressive than ever, its streets cracked with decay, its mist hiding shapes that may or may not be real. Every familiar location, from the school to the church, is being redesigned with modern cinematic tension and dynamic lighting that plays tricks on the eye. Exodus is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious sci-fi RPGs in years. A grand emotional odyssey from Archetype Entertainment, a studio formed by veterans of BioWare's golden age. The story unfolds in the Omega Centauri cluster, where humanity has scattered across distant stars, fighting to survive in a universe shaped by time itself. You play as a traveler, a pioneer caught between factions, faiths, and the impossible physics of near-light-speed travel. where years pass differently for those who venture into the void. Time dilation isn't just a narrative idea. It's a mechanic that changes everything. When you return from a mission, decades may have passed, alliances may have shifted, and the people you once knew might be gone.
Target acquired.
You're June.
We're burning time. Now that we're all best of friends, let's make each other rich. I see a lot of potential in this new partnership.